Hello everyone, it is Monday, May 21st, 2018. Today's high temperature is about 65 degrees, a little bit of a cool spell today. It'll be back up in the 70s and 80s for the rest of the week. And here we are for our weekly garden tour. And as you can see, a couple changes. So, let's get going. We started off with the Macintosh apple, which looks beautiful. All of the trees look so nice. When I pan, you can see green on all of them. Maybe not so much this one, but this was the Granny Smith transplant from 3 weeks ago. Looking so good. I mean, look at this. It took just super quickly. It's lake fly season here in Oshkosh. We got about 2 weeks of them after Mother's Day. So onto the peach tree. Last week when I came to you, I was worried about this branch here being way over on this side and its subsequent offshoots like this and this. So a viewer recommended that I move it to the side and I tie it on, and these are very loose. It seems like it's mostly being held on just by the friction right here, this branch coming in contact with this and stopping. So hopefully this stem will continue to become more erect and the tree itself will get off to a more vertical start. So thank you for that recommendation. All of the peach trees, last week, actually not even last week, yesterday, I went and I took off the little suckers that were growing along. Figured it was time. They both look super nice. I'm really impressed with the Bartlett pear. Pear, not peach. Sorry, pear. All right, raspberry trellis time. I told you last week this was my goal, was to, among other things, make sure the raspberry trellises got done. And got done they did. And I did this in 2 parts, Saturday and Sunday. It took me some time because this is pretty long. This section is 24 feet and then this last section is 8 feet. And as you can see right here, I ran out of wire for my trellis. I was trying to reuse as much material as I can. This is reused. Obviously the posts are from some trees that I had cut down, so good use of reused material. I just had to go to the store for the 8-foot 1x3s, and this I got a 50-foot thing of wire. It's 4 foot tall. I think, what, 2 by 4 inch, something like that. Anyways, raspberries are all up and in, except for that shoot right there, which I'll need to go in and tuck under. I'll have a video for this up, I think this week, or maybe next week. I've got a couple things that are in queue, just waiting for all of you. I've got this, planting potatoes, and actually making the raised beds. We got this at an art fair this weekend. This nifty little sun. Might be hard to see against the trees. Not sure if this is going to be the final spot. It's about 10 feet tall at the top, 9 feet. It's pretty cool. If it stays here, I think I might plant some morning glories around it to see if they will crawl up the shaft. But otherwise, maybe I'll just move it to the back of the fence. Let's go on in. Oh, another thing I did. Remember how I said I needed to fix the door because it was sticking at the bottom? Well, look, it's not sticking anymore. So this just opens right up. All I ended up doing, I measured the width from here to here at its widest point, and it was like 35 inches. So I just cut a 2x4 cut off that was 35 inches. You can see here, as I was shoving it in the ground, I lightened up some of the paint, but I just dug a hole, shoved it in, and that essentially widened up this side. I dug around the bottom of the post here, and then I retamped everything down. And now it opens and closes as it should. All these leaves, these were blown out from underneath the raspberries last week, and I figured I'd just put them in this trench, they'll decompose, and eventually get covered by mulch. Look at how nicely all the peas are coming up. It's definitely time to get a trellis up here, so again, that's a project for this week, hopefully, because they want to start climbing. Now that they got all those runners out, I don't want them to just start climbing onto each other like they're kind of doing here. Look at that, that's like wrapped around its neighbor. So, this weekend, I planted more seeds. So along this side, see the peas are on the edge, on the inner edge. So along the outer edge, I planted beans here, and then cucumbers and okra. So those will grow Those will grow a little bit later, which is fine. I want the peas to have a full like month of light before the other ones come up. Peas were planted on the 30th of April, and then the beans and other stuff I just said were planted on the 19th of May, or the 18th of May. These in the corner here, these are morning glories. They're prolific climbers, so these will grow up and go and hopefully climb all along the pergola. Same on this side. Oh, where to go first? Why not right down the middle? As we can see, we've got all these seeds that are coming up that I had planted 2 Thursdays ago. They germinated at about 7-8 days. I think their rate was like 4 to 12, so it was right in the middle, right where it should be. I was just nervous. I think the first couple days after I planted them it was kind of cold, so they didn't really do much. These are all of my growing, vining things. These are squash and watermelon and cucumber and that kind of stuff. But it all looks good. It's a little thin over here. You know, I just got some like weedy grass that I need to pick off. See, there's a tiny little one that came up, and there's a little weed growing around that. I'm not going to use all of these plants. I'll probably thin it to 1 every foot, but that's why you put multiple seeds in. Oh my God, can you imagine if I had every single pumpkin plant grow? That would be ridiculous. So take a look at the gooseberries. The actual berries themselves are really taking shape. You can see how nicely amid the lake flies these are coming along. They are about the size, like some of them are a little bit bigger than a BB, if you've ever shot a BB gun, but they're just smaller than a marble. So they're looking really nice. No idea how much longer that's going to take for those to go on. The rhubarb, of course, just continues to get massive as I pull off more and more seed heads. This one right here is number 7. Thanks to anybody who watched that quick little video from Friday. Just an informational session. Raspberries there. I think what I'll do later in the season is I'll probably take a board from here to here and then just prop this up a little bit more. I did that on that side, so essentially this L and the raspberries is one big unit, so hopefully if the wind starts to push it this way, you know, this will stop it, and then vice versa. Whatever, it's pretty strong. I'm really pleased with it. And this time, to anchor it down, I did something smart. I got, I'm trying to remember what these are called. Oh, here's one that I pounded in like an asshole. See, I didn't actually pound it in, but they look like nails that were bent over and that are sharp on both sides, kind of like a really thick staple, and then I hammered them all in everywhere. And it's on tight, which is really nice, because this one I just put on with staples a couple years ago, and it's not. The staple's all ripped up. So then yesterday I also took the time to hammer in some staples here. On to other vegetables. Here we are in the corn and sunflower area, and everything has germinated. Here's all these green things. This is corn coming up. Same with this next row right here, and then sunflower, corn. The sunflowers are already getting off to a really nice start. Couple inches tall already. It's so pretty. I think there was one yesterday still that had, oh yep, this one still has its sunflower seed on the top. I just think that's cute. Hey, what's in these blue things, you might ask? Well, the answer is potatoes. These are two, let's see, this was one 55-gallon barrel, and I cut it and I planted French fingerling potatoes in it. I think 10 in each because they're so darn wide. We'll do a couple updates on this. Got a planting and a make video, like I alluded to earlier, that's coming up later. And you'll see as you watch these regular updates when the shoots start coming up. Nice green leaves. But I'll do some big updates on those later in the summer. Here in the beds, peppers are looking real nice. I dug holes. Okay. I dug holes for my jade plants. Now, the jade plants are not planted in the ground. My succulents, I just put their pots in there, because usually in the summertime I bring them out a little bit later than this, admittedly, so they're kind of struggling. But they had been relatively dormant in my basement, so that's okay. They're waking up. This one, although it looks brown and unhappy will be very happy. Just give it some warmer weather. Tomatoes also looking just fine. They really took and they're growing. Let's see, now that I've got these posts in here, this is up to the second rung, let's say. I think I talked about this last week, but I'm using these stakes as trellises this year. So as the tomatoes and peppers and stuff start to grow next month, I'll just be putting sisal wire along in intervals. The nice thing is, like, I'll just wrap one right around here, and then 6 inches up, you do one around here, and then here, and then here, etc. So that should be pretty cool. Oh, I also planted some more morning glories around the base of these, thinking that they might spiral up to the top and maybe crawl along the sisal. We'll find out. I'm really experimenting with planting things a lot closer together in the raised beds. You can't see it, obviously, but I also seeded this weekend for things. There are herbs all in between the tomatoes here of great varieties, like thyme and rosemary and basil and stuff. Broccoli doing just fine. Even that tiny little one in the corner looks like it's doing well. The onions are perking up, like I said they would. Got another one of my succulents that's mostly dead. Figured I'd give it one more summer to try. And then this is a flower, I forget what it's called, but it's going to be about 2 feet tall and yellow, and they're supposed to attract butterflies. So we'll see what these little balls look like after they open up. And then the front here, which looked so barren last week, when I zoom in, looks less barren. So you can see we've got rows of stuff coming up. These tall ones right here, these are spinach, and then it's lettuce on this side, and you can distinctly see the rows. So we'll just see how long it takes for that to come along. Same with everything else, the carrots and the beets and the radishes. You can see the rows coming up. Hopefully in another week or two, if we get good weather, I'll be able to thin those out. These are doing real well here. And then carrots, you can just see, like, that's a row. Can you see it when I get in there? These tiny little hairs. It's tough to make out from here, I admit, especially with that gnome just laying so chill. But there are vertical rows from your perspective that go down. So I think everything was a success in this raised bed, at least for seed starting. Now we'll just see what it's like once the weather is consistently in the 70s and 80s and such. All that heat, having them grow. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I also planted some flowers in here, and I still have to plant some vegetables in this bed. So this bed is mostly unused right now, which is my fault. And that is the garden right now. Obviously, the big things were all the extra seeds and the raspberry trellises. So it's been fun. It's definitely been a good, productive week. And when I exit the garden, I'm just gonna walk back. Oh, train must have stopped. Train's way down there. As I walk backwards, one of the things that I like so much is the raspberry trellises and the raised beds and the door and all that big sun thing there give the garden shape, you know, like a sense of starting and finishing. I think the raspberry trellises give it more verticality, which I just think is spectacular. So how are things growing in your garden? Let us know in the comment section below. If you're new, I hope you'll subscribe. We do these every single week. And if you have any suggestions for me, I'm always open to them. I definitely take your suggestions. So thanks much, everyone. Happy gardening, and bye-bye.